Okay. Just make sure my phone is off. Okay, we're live. Here we go. Hey, live.
All righty. Welcome in, everybody. Third Generation West Podcast, 3G Dub here to. I know we're a little, not quite a week late, but it's been a few days since this news came out. Um, and we're also conflicted. Some of us, a lot of us here on the crew, are conflicted with um this passing, I guess you could say. We had three passings in a row, like just a couple of days apart. Malcolm Jamal Warner went. And that was a shock. And then Ozzy Osbourne went, like, okay. And then out the blue, I'm at the beach and I get a text saying Hulk Hogan passed. Like, what?
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know where you were when you found out, but yeah. Or
well,
maybe it wasn't me that texted you, or did you see it before I texted you?
no, I want to say I was working. I mean, it was a weekday, and I work until 3:30 or so in the afternoon. Yeah, and so I heard it, and then of course, it's funny because it's not that I didn't believe you when you told me, but whenever I get news like that, it's like, oh wow, I got it. I guess I go to CNN or USA Today just to confirm. I don't know why. Not because I don't believe. It's just sometimes things are just so surprising. You just respond that way. But yeah, it's funny because after Malcolm Jamal Warner passed, I remember one of us in the group remarking that, well, celebrities always go in threes. Okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
then man, within the span of a couple of days, we lose the great Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. So man, what a week last week! A terrible week for celebrity passings.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of glad we took a little time because I had to kind of think about this one too. But I will say this, last night on Raw, when they did the second tribute and saw the video, I don't know if it was the same video. Maybe it was. It's pretty long. But seeing it this the second time around really brought out my childhood like feelings about Hogan and like wow, he really was like my first hero. Like it wasn't Superman, it was Hulk Hogan for me. And like and yeah, just the biggest thing as a kid was literally Hulk Hogan. Like you would see him on TV shows and movies. And I grew up, I know Rob hates movies, but I grew up watching No Holds Barred all the time. And so to see him in Thunder in Paradise, he was in Suburban Commando, like all this other stuff. Like and then
You even watched all those?
Thunder in
Oh,
Paradise was my show, man.
oh, okay, okay. Maybe I've never seen it. Maybe I shouldn't judge so harshly. I
It,
have not seen it.
it was to me it was a more again, I was a kid, so uh I don't know, it kind of was like a knockoff Baywatch, but it was Hulk Hogan. So and then, the infamous WCW heel turn that rocked the world, and he became Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I was still liking him. I mean, there's only three times that I really, really like went against Hogan. Okay, it was once against Sting in Starrcade. I believe that was '97. Against Goldberg, of course, '98.
Yeah, yeah.
And when he was facing The Rock at WrestleMania 18. Now, I don't know, like when the match started, I was like, oh, I don't know now because the crowd's going crazy for Hogan and he's doing all the old school stuff, the hulking up and the you. Yeah, so yeah, those are the only three times I really cheered against him. Other than that, I was always for Hogan and um I didn't watch him in TNA. When TNA became a thing, I didn't watch none of those guys, Booker T, Ric Flair, I didn't watch none of that stuff. Uh,
Me
I
neither.
just first of all, it was hard to find, or harder to find. And you know it just didn't like at that time when it first started they had that octagon ring. I was just like this looks or the five-sided six-sided ring, yeah. So I didn't watch. I didn't watch. But obviously it was about 10 years ago now. It came out some audio got leaked of him, dropping the N-word and saying things about black people and things like that. So that really caused a rift, even for somebody like me and you and other people, other blacks that loved Hulk Hogan growing up. And then they heard that and went, "Oh, what the hell?" Now, an apology goes a long way. However, he never really. I know there was an interview done where he said that he had a bad moment, and that's like the cliche thing people say now. I had a bad moment. I said this, and that he's not wrong. We should not be defined by one thing that we do in life because that would be unfair. Okay. However, with your platform, there's no reason why you couldn't come out and just say to everybody, not just blacks, but like, look, yeah, I did have a bad moment to the locker room. Like, you know, I apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt feelings. I was just, whatever the case may be. I said it. I own it. It was a mistake. I feel bad for it. I just hope y'all can forgive me and we can move forward. And we would have. But instead, what was told, what he told the locker room was, hey, be careful what you say and who you say it around because you never know who's recording you. And that kind of felt like a slap in the face. Like, okay, all right. And then I don't really get into the family dynamic. I know him and Brooke became estranged in 2023, and he never even got to meet his grandchildren, which is terrible. And people have their own comments about that, but I'm like, that's family. That's none of my business. Um, at the end of the day, for me, I think, death is, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Um, he was an imperfect human, which we all are. He just happened to be in the spotlight. But it still rings true what everybody's saying. Something you used to say about Vince McMahon. Wrestling wouldn't be what it is today without Vince McMahon. There would be no AEW. There would be no TNA. You wouldn't have none of that stuff without Vince. And what's a promoter without a performer? So yeah, we wouldn't be here watching all these things without Hulk Hogan. We wouldn't be sitting here talking wrestling without Hulk Hogan. Period. So that being said, for me, I gotta look at it like I think Terry Bollea was once separate from Hulk Hogan, but I think about probably in the last 15 years, they kind of melded together and became one, and he couldn't separate the two. I mean, even when his political views, I don't really care about his political views, okay? And yes, I know he was rallying for Trump. That's not gonna make me, you know,
Yeah,
feel
so
good.
was Undertaker. I don't have any issue with that.
Right.
I believe
So,
Stone Cold too, but yeah, I mean
right.
that's cool with
So,
me.
um, there's other shortcomings we could get into, but at the end of the day, this man was a father. You know, saw his son at Raw, which I was happy to see at least one child there, and showing emotion to because that's he's somebody's dad, somebody's granddad. So um, there are more passionate people out there speaking their opinion on Hogan. For me, I feel like at this stage in life, we choose how we want to feel about somebody. Um, I don't really hold grudges. He said what he said. He did what he did. But he was a human being. Made some mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all say things we don't mean or that we wish we could take back, but we can't. Um, and if I had a chance to say anything to him, I would say, I loved you as a kid, but I really wish you would have like said something a little better to redeem yourself. And that's really all I would say. But, he really was a childhood hero of mine. And, everybody walked around ripping their shirts. That was the thing the kids did. And, talking like him, the brother, all that. And as much as he said brother, you think he would love some brothers. But, uh, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And We have one life to live, and we as humans do our best to do that. So, thanks for the memories as a child. I know that, at least I read that he was religious toward the end. So, um, hopefully he at least had that going for him, relationship with God. So that being said, I just wanted to say that piece, and you know, everybody's gonna have their own opinion, how they want to talk about the man, and now that he's gone. I mean, no, death doesn't absolve you of things that you did here, but at the same time, we can't take away all the other stuff he did because he said these things, or he had these different type of relationships with people. That I wouldn't do that to Vince either. So that's my piece, Ambassador.
Well, I mean, this is a tough one for a lot of the same reasons you spoke about. I'm kind of conflicted as an African American. First of all, let me say I have said things in private that I know would have hurt people who heard it if they would have heard it. I was young. I've said dumb stuff as an adult. I've said dumb stuff. So I don't want to judge anyone too harshly who also does that. I think most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, at one time or another has said or done something we know would hurt someone or a group of people. We're human, but that doesn't excuse you doing it, and it doesn't mean that what you say doesn't can't can deeply hurt someone. So, of course, as an African American and as an African American who once was a huge fan of Hulk Hogan, I wouldn't call myself a Hulkamaniac. I never bought a shirt, but I loved Hulk, man. You know, WrestleMania 1, 2, and 3, he headlined those, and those are great memories. WrestleMania 3 is one of my greatest memories as a wrestling fan because I felt like that was you can point towards the original WrestleMania and say that kind of introduced it to the mainstream. But when you pack 90,000 people, and I know the count, some people will say, well, it wasn't quite what they said. The bottom line is the Guinness Book of World Records at that time certified it as the largest indoor attendance record in history at that time. It was a record that lasted for about 20 years. It eclipsed acts like the Rolling Stones, the Pope, the Super Bowl. And so, as a person who had been a wrestling fan since I was a kid and remember it when it was just this niche thing where you were kind of frowned upon where you were a wrestling fan because it hadn't gone mainstream, it was kind of this underground thing. To see that moment, him and Andre, two larger than life figures who had transcended the sport, standing face to face. Did the match deliver? No. But the moment where they're standing face to face in what at the time was, and maybe still is, one of the greatest main events of all time. And when I say that, I mean, as far as matchups of gigantic personalities, that is definitely up there at the top. I mean, WrestleMania 3 was on your national news. It was on Good Morning America. Part of that was because of the immense popularity of Hulk Hogan. But anyway, that's a favorite memory for me. Also, WrestleMania 18, you spoke about it. Anybody who has not seen that match, Rock versus Hogan, I'm telling you, that is one of the greatest crowd responses you're ever going to see.
Hmm.
Ebb and flow, everybody kind of leaning towards the Rock, but then Hogan just winning them over, and then at some points the crowd being divided almost equally, Rock versus Hogan. It's really incredible to watch. As you said, I don't think WrestleMania exists without Hogan. I don't think SummerSlam. I don't think any of that exists without
Mm-mm.
Hogan. And I think he's easily one of the top three most popular wrestlers of all time. You throw in Stone Cold, and you have to say Cena. I know a lot of people don't like that, but when you talk, those are probably the top three that you're speaking about. But now, if you're talking the most impactful, if you're talking about a wrestler who changed the course of the business more than any other, to me, Hulk Hogan stands alone
Oh yeah,
with the effect he has had on this business that we both love so much. So for
no
that,
doubt.
I'm grateful and I'm thankful. But as an African American, there's no way I can look past or forget the things that he said. Now, I don't know Hulk Hogan personally. I know he put out an apology like most people do. You put it in People magazine. It sounds sincere. I'm always better when I know a person and they apologize to me in person, and I feel like I can gauge whether or not they're sincere. When you just put out a sound bite, maybe you're sincere, but when I'm reading it, I, I I don't really know. And did you really put it out because you're really sorry? Or just because now you're trying to cover your ass because you're losing some money, losing some endorsements, people are frowning on you. You just never really
But
know.
WWE fired him.
Right. I mean, I want to believe that he was really sincere, but then you talk about, look, his support of Trump, if you support Trump, that's fine. But at the convention, he also got up and kind of made some jokes about Kamala that were race adjacent, like
Right.
Trump, kind of making fun of her heritage. Well, man, come
Right.
on. Considering your baggage, maybe not the best
Yeah.
thing to do.
Hmm.
But I also can't discount wrestlers like Devon and other African American wrestlers who said, look, I've talked to Hogan and he apologized to me personally. I could see his sincerity and I forgive him. So I've got to take that at face value because, as I said, I'm always better when I can gauge someone's face to face. I feel like I'm a good judge of character, and I think I could tell if someone is being sincere. I don't have the benefit of that, not ever having met Hulk Hogan. Maybe he really was sorry for what he did, but and I think it's fair. Just because a person passes away doesn't mean that you have to say only nice things about them. I'm not saying tap dance on their grave, but what you leave behind, your legacy, includes
Hmm.
everything that we know you for,
Everything, the
good
good
and
and
bad.
the bad. You get one
And
audition at this thing.
right, and but Hulk Hogan is not the only celebrity or human being who has a complicated legacy.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
there are some artists, some sports figures, some famous people who have passed, who have other wrestlers who have complicated legacies. Now I'm not going to name their names. I don't. I don't know if that would be fair, but there are some celebrities right now
I mean,
who
we
have
just
been in the
mentioned
news.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just to name one, that's an obvious one. Like,
Well, there are some celebrities who have been recently in the news who are very popular, but are going to have their legacy once they're gone. There's going to be a lot of baggage along with it. So I only say that to say this: none of us are perfect. On some level, we are all flawed. I'm not a person that likes to judge too harshly, but I, I'll always have those great memories of Hogan, the matches that I spoke about, and so many other memories. The first WWF show I saw, and it was WWF at the time, 1987, Rosemont Horizon, what is now the Allstate Arena, the Wrestling Classic. I think you can see that on Peacock. You used to be able to see it on the network. I don't know, but that was headlined by Hulk Hogan against Roddy Piper. Man, that was my first time seeing Hogan in person. I was so excited I was going to get to see him. I saw him a few times after that. It was great. So I have those good memories, but unfortunately, I have that terrible audio that I heard that really hurt me. I'm not ashamed to say, man, it didn't just anger me. It hurt me because as a
yeah.
fan, you just you just it just hurt to hear that. That's all I can say. But to his family, his friends, his fans, condolences because good or bad, happy, sad, Hulk Hogan was a beloved figure. All of us, even you and I, who feel some kind of way, we're still feeling that sense of loss because man, I wasn't the child, but man, look, it was 40 years ago when Hulkamania was a thing. Um, those are great memories for me, man.
Yeah, I
Memories
remember
of a lifetime. So
um
so yeah,
remember WrestleMania
complicated,
30?
huh?
Remember WrestleMania 30?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
was you, me, and Book watching.
yep,
Hogan comes out first, and I was like, "Oh, they're starting with Hogan," and then he messed up, Silverdome, all that stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then The
yeah,
Rock
yeah.
came out, and then Stone Cold came out. We're like, "What is going on?" Like this is, and we literally all said it. This is Mount Rushmore Wrestling. I think that was probably the
Mhm.
last time that we saw Hogan in a pot. No, 31 too. He was NWO. But that was one of the last times we saw him in like a really positive light. And we're like, holy shit, it's Hogan, Rock, and Stone Cold in the same ring.
Couldn't believe it, man. Couldn't believe it. But I'm not going to go on. I know we've got other business to attend to, but I've said my piece about um, my issues with Terry Bollea. But look, I can't. I'm always going to remember Hulk Hogan. I'm always going to remember Thunder Lips, the Ultimate Male, baby, from Rocky
Yeah.
Three. So you know, like I said, some of us leave complicated legacies behind, but I'm going to try to hold on to the good. Can never forget the bad. I'll never forget that, but I'm going to try and hold on to all the good memories because they are fond memories for me.
Yeah. I mean, it was I think it was the very first wrestling movie with No Holds Barred. We did a review on that, and but growing up as a kid, that was my movie. That was my movie, and yeah, just like you said, um, I'm gonna remember the good. It's unfortunate his last public appearance in WWE, he got booed out the building, and we did video on that too. But we may have went a little hard on him, but at the same time, at the time, that was the temperature of the time,
And
right?
it wasn't just African Americans booing him. I mean,
Oh no, he got it from
there was,
everybody.
and I look, I don't want to say I felt bad for him. What I felt bad is that WWE felt the need to keep dragging him out when, I mean, read the room. How many times are you going to let this man get booed out of an auditorium before you realize, okay, maybe we just shouldn't bring him around anymore?
Well, they read it that time because they did not. That was January.
Right.
But yeah, we just wanted to, we don't want to let that last video be the last time we talk about the man. He passed away. So had to come on here and like you said, you can have your favorite wrestler. You can debate who was the best or most charismatic, whatever the case may be. There's nobody, and there will never be anybody more tied to wrestling as the wrestler than Hulk Hogan. You say WWE, WCW, anything, people think Hulk Hogan. People that don't even watch wrestling know who Hulk Hogan is. You say Hulk Hogan, everybody knows who that is. That is universal,
Yep.
a
He tran
worldwide thing.
he transcended the sport and took it to levels I never thought possible.
Yeah,
I've said this story and I'll make it brief. When I was a kid and I went to my local house shows, on a good night, maybe 1,000 people in a 10,000 seat arena. No Titantrons, no music bringing them to the ring. You would just hear ding ding coming to the ring, weighing in at 252 pounds, wrestler you've never heard of. That's how it was. Hogan changed all of that and made it the huge worldwide global. Uh, I'm trying to think of the right word, phenomenon that it is.
yeah,
Hogan changed all of that. He and Vince McMahon, but I don't think Vince McMahon could have done what he did without having a franchise player like Hogan to do it with.
right. He may have found somebody eventually. I just don't think it would have gotten to what it is to, where it is today without that man. And, you know, sucks. Like I said, I don't really like seeing my childhood fade away because it seems to be that's how it goes as you age, people pass on. But yeah, we just let us know your comments, what you all think. Like I said, a lot of people conflicted online too, so it's not like it's just us. There's people that are dragging them through the mud, and there's people that are praising them, and then there's people that feel like us, where it's like, we love the character Hulk Hogan, but maybe not Terry Bollea so much.
Yeah,
So
and all comments are welcome, good or bad, as long as you're respectful. All
yeah,
opinions are welcome.
yeah, yeah. So as Rob said, condolences to the family. I know it's tough, especially especially on his son. You can see it. His wife, Sky.
Yeah.
I know. Unfortunately, Brooke has already said she won't be attending the funeral, but um,
that just seems to me. I mean, I look, I can't speak, like you said, family stuff. I don't know what happened, what went on. She must have some really valid reasons for not saying that last goodbye.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully it's changing your mind. You only get one dad. I know not everybody has the best relationship with their father or their mother, but you only get one. And
Yeah,
I would hate, you anybody would hate to have that regret later on in life, but that is her choice. That's her choice. I'm not telling her I'm not saying she's right or wrong.
right.
Just
Yeah, I'm not either.
saying how I
I'm
feel.
not there. I can't say.
Yeah. So yes, let us know in comments your favorite Hulk Hogan moment, how you feel about it, how about him. Um, but like I said, keep it respectful. We're not gonna tap dance on anybody's grave. We don't do that here.
Nope.
So, um, but just had to come out here and talk about the man, and um, that's about it for now. We will. What was today? We'll attempt to do predictions for SummerSlam, but can't promise. My schedule's changing, so yeah. I mean, I should have more time to do videos again, but I still have 2 more days of this mid shift going on this week, so I don't know if I'll be able to get into predictions or not. Um,
If
but
we
we
can't,
will.
I don't know if you have time to put a poll online or something for our listeners to pick their picks or something. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
figure
I
something.
might be able to do that. That's probably doable. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, thank you all for watching. Let us know what you all think, and we'll speak to you all again soon. SummerSlam this weekend, biggest party of the summer, 2 nights. First time it's been 2 nights, so we'll see how this goes.
Hosted by
And
Cardi B.
Saturday night's loaded. I don't know how they made front loaded the show so much, but Sunday it's still good. But I just think Saturday is going to be the better night, like Mania usually is. First night's a better night,
Yeah.
so we'll see. But all right. Thank you all again. Take care. 827 of y'all. Thank you. And we'll speak to y'all again soon.